think?
Think it works.
Hey, what's up guys? This is Critical Redemption here. I'm going to be doing another movie review, and since the Captain America Winter Soldier movie came out, I've recently seen it and I will be doing a review on that. I wanted to go back and do a review for the Captain America the First Avenger film. Now, Captain America isn't just the first Avenger, guys. He's the first Marvel character, if you guys don't know that. And he gets a fully functional movie, which is really good. I mean, then again, the superhero studios has its successes, but none of those successes have ever had the stem to stern finish feeling of this one, which is really good. We have the original Iron Man film. It's a lot of fun, but the second half is a little less fun than the first. We also have Thor. Has great characters, but sometimes seems a little light on the story. All of the studio's other films, in my opinion, have worked in spite of some flaw, some glaring mishap, which then better parts must overcome in results. Not Captain America, guys. This is a stem to stern and honest God film. It's awesome, not a bunch of great characters and a weak script, not a good idea with nowhere to go, not an advertisement for some upcoming franchise connection. The First Avenger is a movie, and it's a hell of a good one. Maybe it works so well because, let's see, it also the first movie that doesn't feel as though it's set out to be a superhero movie, if you get what I mean. Captain America is less interested in its character's superpowers than in what Cap's abilities are. Then again, the movie barely discusses them. If Steve Rogers, aka Chris Evans, spent any time after his transformation from scrawny, skinny guy wannabe to mega muscle hunk guy on testing the limits of his new abilities, we never see it. Instead, this movie starts off by showing us who Steve Rogers is, and I really appreciate that, going into depth like they did with Batman Begins, on how they show how Bruce Wayne became the Dark Knight. Then again, we have Steve Rogers and his backstory, and then once it transforms him, it focuses on entirely on showing us the man he's become, which is awesome. When we met him, Steve isn't a hero. He's too little even to be a soldier. I mean, let alone he's a heroic one. He's always, trying to defend everyone. I mean, the special effects used here to turn Chris Evans into a midget, skinny, scrawny guy are nothing short of stunning. I mean, amazing. Though America is in its midst of World War II and desperate for warm bodies to fill out uniforms, Steve is so small, guys, and weak that he's rapidly rejected by the draft board. Then they don't want a 90-pound weakling with chronic and asthma, but Dr. Abraham clearly wants him. Played with a gentle wisdom by Stanley Touche, if I'm not pronouncing that right. He also wants to recruit Rogers for a super soldier experiment he's conducting with the army, which is basically how he becomes Captain America. Stanley believes that only a weak man knows the true value of strength and gambles that giving it to Steve will only make him a better man. And what can I say? It does. Here we have Chris Evans playing Rogers with a sort of earnesty, serious, gee whiz before his transformation, and he's very classy. If it's World War II days, and I like his character being very classy. And the really interesting thing about his performance is how much Steve remains that same man even after he's pumped up and put into his costume. First Avenger also keeps Steve's road rocky. No matter that he's given power beyond of a normal man, life remains a struggle for him. I mean, inside he's still the little guy who keeps getting knocked down, but he refuses to stay down. Captain America's real strength isn't his arms or his ability. It's basically to throw his shield. It's in his ability to keep getting back up and to keep going on no matter what the cost is. But eventually Captain America ends up in the thick of World War II, which is fighting a Nazi splinter group aka Hydra, headed by a supervillain who is no other than Red Skull, played by Hugo Weaving, who does a fantastic performance. They run around blasting troops with laser guns. They don't let anyone through. Cap's on a collision course with their leader, Red Skull, like I said, Hugo, and along the way, Johnston blasts fast-paced. It's a watchable action sequences that come across the screen that make this film come alive. If there's any complaint here, it's that he doesn't spend more time on them. Some of Cap's earlier exploits end up being reduced to a highlight reel in which we watch him blowing up Hydra installations, and then to the point where he's even punching Adolf Hitler. It's a testament to show how good the real is. I suppose that you want more of it when the movie settles down to really let an action scene develop, though. I mean, it truly roars, guys, and it does a fairly simple fashion. I mean, after a summer of watching superhero movies with power rings and mutant mental abilities, spider webs, bat symbols, there's something refreshing about watching a guy defend the truth and justice with only his fist and big chunk of American metal. And just to let you guys know, I wasn't a huge fan of Captain America before this film came out. I was never really into him. I tried watching the old film, but it was too cheesy for me, and I couldn't get into him. I watched him in some of the animated series of Spider-Man featuring Captain America, and I just couldn't get into him. But this, Chris Evans does such a good performance of being Steve Rogers, I've become a fan. That first Avenger looks glorious and only a bonus. Johnston puts the period-specific skills he's learned making movies from The Rocketeer to good use here, guys. Mixing in area of World War II iconic imagery with sci-fi experience. I mean, maybe the movie could have used a little more 1942 and a little less magic cube from outer space, but this movie's in sense of behold of a classic. Johnston's film also works that at times he strives to make this movie better. This movie's filled with great little nods connecting to the other Marvel movies, which eventually leads up to the Avengers. Parts of the studio's effort to bring their characters together is one big team-up movie called The Avengers, which that was a fantastic film. I like all the superheroes in that film, but that's for another review. But none of that ever gets in the way of creating a self-contained film, what this film has. So, knowing nods will go unnoticed to this film are mind-blowing. This film has good story, good characters, a great cast of people, and it's definitely worth the buy. It's an era where we're obsessed with dark and brooding superheroes. Director Johnston, Captain America, is a breath of fresh air. Action-packed, story-driven. He reminds us that superheroes don't have to be dark and disturbed to be interesting and have these problems and weight upon them. They don't need cracks and flaws to earn out affection. They don't have to be alien gods or magic motorcycle riding demons. Captain America is his own simple way that also embodies himself, much of what's noble and good about humanity. And that's the American way, guys. It's not a boring film. It's awesome. And I give this movie a good 4 out of 5 stars with a rating of 90%. So this has been my review for Captain America: The First Avenger. I did see the second one, and I will be putting up a review soon. I really appreciate you guys listening to my review and watching my videos. I'll be back as soon as I can. So this is Critical Redemption, aka Cash, with another movie review, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care, guys.